Confusion is not a sentence of old age, but a cry for help from a body suffocating from toxins. Do not be too quick to accept the fading of your intellect when you do not yet know the secret lying deep within this gut. Greetings to my fellow travelers on the journey to sustainable health. I am Dr. Ethan Marshall, a 60-year-old expert from the United States, and I want to start our conversation today with a truth that might make you shudder, which is that the moment you walk into a room and stand there blankly wondering what you came in for, or when you pick up a newspaper and the words just slip away in a thick fog, these are not signs that your brain is dying due to age, but rather they are desperate cries for help from a sewage system that is clogged right inside your own body. Before we peel back the layers of this naked truth together, I hope you will take a second to hit subscribe, press the like button, and share this video with your loved ones to support us in continuing to produce quality content that brings value to the community. Ladies and gentlemen, when we cross the slope to the other side of life, we often easily accept confusion or forgetfulness as a cruel and inevitable rule of time. But as someone who has spent a lifetime studying life, I want to affirm to you that memory loss is not the default sentence of old age, but in reality, its root cause often lies where we least expect it, which is your intestines, or more specifically, your colon. Try to imagine your precious body as a beautiful house, but if the waste disposal system in the basement has been clogged for many years, what will happen? Surely toxic gases and foul odors will rise up, creeping through every crack and permeating all the way to the attic, making the space suffocating and toxic. Similarly, the colon is the body's most important waste disposal system, and when we allow it to become constipated, not just simply having difficulty passing stools, but the accumulation of old residue clinging tightly to the intestinal walls over decades, then those very toxins from fermentation and putrefaction will seep back into the blood, pass through the heart and lungs, and finally be pumped directly to the brain, causing nerve cells to suffocate in that very endogenous polluted environment, making your thinking stagnant and muddled. So what do you think is the biggest barrier preventing us from having clarity in old age? Please reflect and leave a comment with your choice below. A is the natural aging of brain cells that humans cannot intervene in, or B is body intoxication due to accumulated waste from the gut that we can completely clean up. We tend to underestimate the colon, viewing it merely as a waste dump that needs to be emptied as quickly as possible, without knowing that this is truly one of the most important and sophisticated sewage systems of the human body, determining the majority of our overall health. Norman Walker, a great master in the field of natural health, once affirmed that if we neglect this waste disposal system, the consequences will be unpredictable. Just like a bustling city where the sewer system is clogged, disease and stench would quickly engulf every corner, paralyzing all vital activities. One of the most disastrous misunderstandings I often encounter in my patients is the concept of constipation, because most people believe that if they still have a bowel movement every day, it means they are not constipated. But the reality is much more complex, because true constipation lies not only in the frequency of elimination, but in the accumulation of old residues clinging tightly to the intestinal walls and hiding deep within the diverticula over decades, like a thick layer of plaster on a wall or scale buildup in water pipes over time, causing the intestinal lumen to narrow and lose the ability to absorb, as well as eliminate effectively. What is most amazing is the intimate anatomical connection between this raw piece of intestine and the most sophisticated control center in our brain, which is the hypothalamus. The hypothalamus acts as a conductor coordinating energy, controlling endocrine glands, and balancing our emotions. But few know that it has a direct neural communication line with the colon through autonomic reflexes. When the colon is inflamed, blocked, or full of toxic waste, it will ceaselessly send stressful alarm signals to the hypothalamus, causing the center to become overloaded and disrupted, interrupting the production of happy hormones and energy. Try to imagine. How can your mind be peaceful and clear? How can you maintain high concentration when the brain's control center is constantly having to process chaotic distress signals from a gut that is poisoned and overloaded? Our nervous system is inherently very sensitive. It cannot function optimally in an internal environment polluted by the body's own waste. So memory loss or lack of clarity is sometimes not due to brain aging, but because it is exhausted from operating in an unclean body. And the blockage at the colon is the biggest barrier separating you from your inherent wisdom. Let's delve deeper into the nature of the problem with a concept that my senior colleague Bernard Jensen spent his life warning about, which is auto-intoxication. Imagine your body as a bustling city and the colon as a waste collection site. If this landfill stagnates and is not cleaned up within the constant body heat, what will happen? Surely those excess foods will not sit still, but will begin to ferment, rot, and produce countless gases and harmful toxins. The frightening thing is that our bloodstream, which inherently carries the noble mission of absorbing nutrients from the intestinal wall to nourish every cell, now unintentionally becomes the carrier transporting these toxic wastes throughout the body. That toxic blood flow will pass through the liver, overloading it, then pass through the heart to the lungs to get oxygen. And finally, the most important destination, and also the most sensitive place, is the brain, where billions of fragile nerve cells are craving nourishment from pure blood, but are instead soaked in a heavy endogenous polluted environment. It is this pollution that is the culprit causing neurons to suffocate, making signal transmission slow and disjointed, leading to the phenomenon of a heavy head and lack of concentration that we are facing. Not stopping at the aspect of chemical toxins, Professor Arnold Ehret also opened up for us a deeper perspective on physical blockage through the mucus theory. The wrong foods we have ingested for so many years, such as refined starch, dairy products, or excess animal meat during metabolism, will create a sticky layer of glue he calls mucus, clinging tightly to blood vessel walls and creeping into the tiny capillaries in the brain, obstructing the flow of blood and energy. He summarized this phenomenon through a classic formula: vitality equals power minus obstruction, where obstruction, also called O, is the sum of mucus, toxins, and blockage in the circulatory system and brain tissue. When this obstruction in your body is too great, it will negate the natural source of power, causing your vitality and clarity to decline severely. Therefore, lethargy or forgetfulness is not the end of intellect due to age, but merely the inevitable consequence of the brain having to operate laboriously in a machine that is rusted and clogged by the very things we have accumulated over the years. So in the face of this alarming reality of endogenous intoxication silently eroding the intellect, what must we do to save our clarity? The answer does not lie in hastily seeking expensive brain supplements or artificial nerve stimulation therapies, but lies in a much more basic and practical action, which is cleaning up waste from the root. The first and most important step in this recovery roadmap is to thoroughly cleanse the colon through enema methods or deep colon cleansing, because this is the most direct and effective path to peel off and remove those toxic plaques that have accumulated and hardened in the intestinal wall since we were young, helping to lift the burden of thousands of pounds pressing on the nervous system every day. Alongside mechanical cleansing, we are compelled to conduct a revolution regarding the input fuel for the body by thoroughly applying the mucus-free diet that Professor Arnold Ehret painstakingly researched and proposed. This means we need to bravely gradually eliminate clogging foods like animal meat, refined starch, and dairy products, which are the main raw materials creating the sticky glue layer blocking brain capillaries, and instead maximize fresh fruits and vegetables, especially vegetable juices, because they act as powerful biological brooms helping to dissolve and eliminate toxins from every cell. I want to tell you about the case of a former patient named Sarah, 68 years old, who came to see me in a state of utter despair because of severe memory loss and being constantly shrouded in a feeling of melancholy and fatigue, making her believe she was in the early stages of Alzheimer's dementia. Instead of prescribing medication, I guided her to perform a strict colon detox regimen combined with changing her diet, and the result was truly miraculous. After only a few weeks, she returned with a radiant smile and told me, "Doctor, the fog in my head has vanished. I feel like someone just wiped clean the window pane of my soul." Sarah's story is vivid proof that she did not have an incurable brain disease, but was simply drunk on the very toxins accumulated in her gut. However, I also need to remind you that this healing process is not a magic trick that happens overnight, because we have spent decades accumulating waste through wrong habits. So it also takes a commensurate amount of time, along with perseverance and iron discipline, for the body to eliminate all those deep-seated residues and restore its inherent state of clarity. My dear friends, the journey to find clarity that we have just discussed together does not stop at mere biotechnical measures, but it touches upon a profound philosophical truth about human existence, which is the sacred, organic, and inseparable connection between body and mind. We tend to mistakenly believe that intellect and spirit are independent, lofty, soaring entities completely separate from the mundane physical constraints of the flesh. But harsh reality has proven the opposite, that a peaceful spirit, a sharp intellect, or a serene soul cannot reside and sublimate in a physical temple that is filthy, stagnant, and full of toxins. The clarity of thought is the most truthful mirror reflecting the purity of the bloodstream and the internal environment nourishing it every moment. So brain health or the clarity of old age is not a random gift of fate or rare genetic luck, but the inevitable and deserving result of deep understanding and strict self-discipline in daily lifestyle. It is time we seriously reconsider our ultimate responsibility towards this miraculous biological machine, because no talented doctor or expensive elixir in the world can replace you in doing the work of cleaning and maintaining the home of your own soul. Never hastily bow your head to accept confusion, slowness, or forgetfulness as mandatory and cruel companions of old age, viewing them as an irreversible destiny. Because history and reality have proven that there are countless people who live with longevity and wonderful clarity until the very last moments of life, thanks to their constant awareness of keeping the internal system clean and operating in accordance with the laws of nature. The power to change the fate of health and regenerate intellect does not lie far away or depend on external forces, but lies right in your own hands and your mindful choice today when you decide to stop ingesting harmful things and bravely begin the work of purifying the toxic remnants of the past. Start acting right now by cherishing and cleaning the body from the inside, because that is the most solid foundation for building an ageless intellect and a truly fulfilled life. Please etch into your heart and mind that a clean body is the source of a clear mind, and that is the most precious legacy you can bestow upon yourself in the golden years of life. The journey we have just traversed has illuminated an important truth, that memory loss and the phenomenon of brain fog are not the inevitable destiny of old age, but a cry for help from a digestive system that is clogged and overloaded. The deep-seated cause lies in the colon, where waste accumulated over decades causes the phenomenon of auto-intoxication, making the bloodstream carry toxins instead of nutrients to nourish the brain and suffocate nerve cells. The most fundamental solution to restore clarity does not lie in expensive neurosupplements, but in the courage to clean the body from the inside through colon enemas, to remove residue, and applying a mucus-free diet to regenerate a pure bloodstream. In short, a clear intellect and a peaceful spirit can only exist and sublimate in a physical temple that is clean and pure. The most profound lesson we need to etch into our hearts is that the body and mind are an inseparable, unified entity. We cannot expect a sharp mindset while leaving the physical body in pollution. To apply this into practice right today, start by seriously reviewing your nutritional regimen, bravely cutting down on clogging foods like refined starch and excess animal protein, while proactively learning and practicing gut-cleansing methods to step-by-step remove the burden of toxins that are holding back your own intellect. In your opinion, is the biggest barrier making most people hesitate to start colon cleansing and changing their lifestyle due to skepticism about the method or due to enslavement to old eating habits? Please share your perspective in the comments section. If you want to delve deeper into the natural healing process and specific detox methods, I have prepared a special gift, which is an ebook on healing health. Please fill in your information in the link in the description to receive it completely free. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and share this video with interested friends to give us more motivation to produce even more valuable content in the future.